going on to all you beautiful people out there in YouTube land? So today I got a review on another fully mechanical box mod, and this one's going to be coming from Infinite, and it's going to be a clone of the ever so famous Dimitri box mod. So I present to you the Dimitri clone by Infinite. Gonna have a quick vape real quick, and we're going to talk about it. Beautiful. I have my Mutation X version 3 on it at the moment, running dual coils. This box mod is going to be fully mechanical, so there's not going to be any wires. There is no MOSFET in here. There's pretty much nothing. It's just fully mechanical, so there is not really going to be any safety features on this one. So for your new vapors out there, or for you newbies out there, I do not recommend a box mod like this. There is no safety features, there's no regulation going on, so you really have to know your Ohm's law, you really have to know your battery safety in order to use a mod like this, because it can be dangerous if you do something crazy or stupid. So let's keep this one up to the experienced people out there. It does use dual 18650 batteries that run in parallel, so you will have a 4.2, steady voltage. And then as your batteries drop, your voltage will drop. Your amperage will not double. So if you're using two 30 amp batteries, you can expect around 40 amps. The amperage does not double, just the mAh rating doubles, okay? So you'll have much longer battery life. And the amp rating kind of just gets a little boost, okay? It doesn't double. So keep that in mind when you're figuring out, your resistance when building your atomizers for this thing. Now this box mod is it's a beast. It's a weapon. You can use this one in a fight if you want. You could chuck it at someone's head, and I'll guarantee you, you will knock that guy the hell out. It is a very hefty and heavy, full alloy aluminum. It's pretty much like a solid alloy aluminum box. The negative battery contacts are going to be a silver-plated copper. You're going to have a gold-plated switch. You're going to have some Delrin going on the inside. You're going to have a silver-plated copper 510 connection. Now, on the inside of this thing, it's really, really simple. Really simple design going on. And another cool feature about this box mod is you can completely disassemble this box mod. You can remove the switch. You could remove the 510 housing. You can remove all of the contacts. You could have it to where you just have a aluminum box, and you could take all the parts and pieces, you could polish them up, you could do whatever you want to them, and you could kind of fully adjust this thing to where you can adjust the throw and the switch for a long throw, a short throw. I have it set up right now to the shortest throw possible, and it's performing really, really well. Talk a little bit about the mod. I mean, I pretty much already discussed all the features on it. It is kind of a tall mod. I'll have the sizes on the screen right here for you guys. I was using some sub-ohm 0.2 ohm clearizers on this thing, and it did perform really well, but it was just too tall and too long. So I've been using my drippers on it, and it's really nice. It performs really well. I kind of use this mod when I'm on the go. You could just slide it kind of in your pocket, because it could really take a beating. You could drop this thing, you could throw this thing, and it's not gonna, it might get damaged, but it's still gonna work. This thing is a workhorse. It's really, really solid in the hands. They did a great job on machining this aluminum box. Now, there are a few different versions of this. I know a lot of people claim, oh, Chinese mods, there's only one person that makes the mod, and it's just relabeled by different companies. And that is true to a point. I was looking online at the different Dimitri clone box mods, and some offer a spring-loaded 510 connection, some have a fixed 510 connection, and there were very little minor differences between the different ones. So you got to make sure that the one you buy has the features you want. So I'll be reviewing the Infinite version, and if you go and purchase one and it's not the Infinite version, it may be lacking a feature that's not offered in this version. So keep that in mind when you're purchasing a clone of anything, a mod or an atomizer. So let's dive down, let's get up close and personal with the Dimitri box mod by Infinite, all right? Here we go. All right, guys, here we are up close and personal with the Dimitri clone by Infinite. Now, as you can see, it does have a really nice brushed aluminum finish to it. You can see all the brush marks going on. I kind of really do like this finish. It has a nice, soft, like smooth, sleek finish to it. It's not slippery in the hands because the oils in your fingers kind of grip onto it, but it does have a nice, soft, smooth feel to it. It doesn't have like that brushed stainless steel feel to it. It's nice and smooth and soft. On the front right here, if my camera can focus on it, is going to be the Dimitri logo. It's going to have like a gold plating to it. And the box is pretty, pretty blank. Nothing too much going on here. The other side where the battery door is, all blank aluminum. Then on this side right here, we're going to have a serial number 1372. But since this is a clone, I don't think the serial number really matters much. Then on the bottom right here, we're going to have some engraving going on. Vaping Kiko, which I believe is the original modder of the authentic version. Then you're going to notice that we have a vent hole here and a vent hole here for battery ventilation. And then we're going to have some silver-plated copper negative battery contacts, and these are going to be a flathead contact, and you take your flathead screwdriver and these will tighten down and fasten your batteries into place. Then on the top right here, we're going to have your silver-plated non-adjustable 510 connection, and I'll talk more about this connection in a little while. And then over here, we're going to have your gold-plated switch, and you can see I have it set up for a real short throw at the moment. And it has a nice firm press to it. There is no locking feature to the switch, but if you do kind of turn it sometimes, you can kind of lock it. Like right now, let's see, is that locked? I think it's made to have a locking feature, but the locking feature really doesn't work because it kind of turns and then it kind of snaps into place, but it still pushes down. And I'll show you more about that when we disassemble this thing. But overall, that's pretty much going to be it for the outside of this thing. It's a very plain, simple mod, and I kind of really like the fact that it's really plain with not a lot of crazy logos going on. And you can see the battery door blends in really well. There's not that much of a gap, if any gap at all. It blends in real nicely. Kind of hard to notice it. And the battery door just slides off, or you can kind of pop it off. You'll notice that we have, trying not to blind you guys, but you'll notice that we have 3 magnets going on here. We got 2 on the bottom and 1 in the middle. And these magnets are pretty strong. They do a great job holding this door in place. So you pretty much just snap the door in place, or you could just slide it off like so. And it holds in real well. Haven't had any issues with it coming off. Alright, so at the moment I have 2 18650s in here, and as you know, the mod will not come with any batteries. Be certain that when you use 18650 batteries, you want to use the same exact batteries, the same brand, and the same specifications. Make sure that the batteries are married together, that you pair them together, that you do not use them separately in any other devices. So if you purchase these 2 batteries brand new, always leave them paired together. Now, you can use these batteries in other dual battery mods. Like, for instance, I use these, in all my box mods that require dual 18650s. I charge them together, I leave them together. So as you see, I kind of labeled them 1C and 2C, so I'll never break them apart. But I will use these, like say in my Sigelli box mod or my mom's box mod. Just make sure you keep them paired together. All right, so the batteries are held in place, and as you can see, we got a Delrin block going on up here, and this will slide out and we'll have all the components behind here. But in order to get to this block, you need to remove your batteries. Now, you just don't, put your nail under the battery and pull the batteries out. You got to loosen up these screws on the bottom. So what I'm going to do is take my flathead screwdriver, and you just pretty much insert it in there and just loosen them up. and then your batteries will just come right out. All right, so you have your silver-plated copper negative contacts on the bottom here, and if you want to remove these for any reason, say you want to clean them up or they become damaged or something like that, you can easily remove them. Now, you won't remove them from the bottom of the box, you'll actually remove them from the inside. So what you'll do is you'll tighten them up, and as you tighten it up, it'll pop out. All right, so there you go. There's your silver plated copper negative contact right there. All right, so if you look at the top right here, you'll notice that we also have 2 more silver plated copper contacts. And since the batteries are removed, we can now remove this block, this Delrin block, and it'll just slide right out like so. And you'll notice on this particular clone, the Infinite version, we're going to have 2 silver-plated contacts, a Delrin contact, and another silver-plated contact. And this band right here is also going to be silver-plated, it looks like. Now, on the other versions of a few different clones, I've seen that the band inside there was actually brass, and it wasn't silver-plated. So keep that in mind when you're looking at different versions of the Dimitri clone. We have 2 little grooves cut out on each side of the box, and then all you're going to do is just pretty much slide it in the grooves and pop it in place. There's no wrong way to put this one in. You can only put it in one way, and the batteries are what hold us in place. So if you tip it over, it will just fall right out. All right, so let's get a closer look at these contacts in here. Here are the contacts on the inside. And on this side right here is going to be your switch side, and on this side right here is going to be your 510 connection side. And there's no MOSFET or anything going on here. The way this works is your batteries will come in contact with this, and then pretty much your battery power will, you know, transfer through this silver plate to the silver screw, and it will come in contact right here. So the minute you push down your switch, it's going to make contact, and then the power is going to travel through this plate and bam, up to your atomizer. So this silver screw right here makes connection with the other silver screw when you push down on it. So as you can see, if this was in place, when you push down, it makes contact with this, and then the connection is complete. So that's pretty much how this works. Now, as I said earlier, there is no safety features or anything like that. So if you build too low, your switch will heat up, your batteries will heat up. So be very careful. Know the amperage of your batteries, know the ohms of your atomizer. Be very, very careful. Now, I'm going to disassemble this box just a little bit. I'm not going to completely disassemble it because removing this 510 connection can be a little tricky. All right, so all you're gonna need is a flathead screwdriver. You see, you just put your screwdriver in there and just kind of unscrew that screw, and it should pop right out. There we go. All right, so there's another one of your silver-plated copper screws. This one's gonna screw into your switch. I might as well show it to you, right? Let's remove the contact for the 510 connection. All right, so I got that screw removed. So we have a silver-plated copper screw for the 510 connection, one for the switch, and then we're gonna have this little band right here, and it seems to be silver-plated. It's really, really thin. I'm not sure if this band will snap if you end up, you know, running a atomizer that's way too low, and if the mod heats up, this band might end up snapping, but I'm not positive on that one. I don't think it actually will. All right, so if you look down in here, this is the 510 connection right here, the 510 pin. And then as you can see, the 510 pin has threading in there, and that's where the positive contact screws into. And there's really no way to adjust this 510 pin, so it is kind of a fixed 510 pin. Okay, and then if you wanted to remove the 510 connection completely, what you'll do is take your screwdriver, push along this groove, and unlock this ring, and you'll start unscrewing the ring like so. Take your finger, you could probably unscrew the rest of the way with your finger. Alright, and then when that nut's off, what you're going to do is if you come up here, you'll notice we have 2 holes in this little Delrin. And if you take your tweezers, I'm not going to use tweezers, I'm just going to use my little pin right here. if you start turning it, it'll come out like so. There you go. So it's completely out now. And if you want to get in there and do whatever you want to do, you could do it. And the same thing goes for the side with the switch. You can remove the switch housing. All you got to do is just give it a turn. And there you go. So, as you can see, the box is completely disassembled. The only parts that are in place are those negative contacts. I kind of left those in place. But yeah, there you go. So let's take a look at some of the parts here. All right, so here's your switch. And the switch looks to be a gold-plated brass, probably. Yeah, it feels like a gold-plated brass. Then you have your spring here. Looks like a standard spring. And then here's going to be your 510 connection. It's silver-plated copper. And I haven't really found a way to adjust this. As I said, there's really no way to adjust this. You can't screw that up or down or anything like that. And it's kind of a screw inside of a screw. So there's no real way to adjust this. So it's kind of a fixed pin. If you wanted to, you could push down with a screwdriver and that will pop the pin out of there. And then this disc right here that holds that 510 connection in place is going to be Delrin. And then this part right here, is brass, and this is going to be your button housing. All right, so let's assemble this thing back together. This should be fun. So let's put the 510 connection into place. Okay, and then grab that little locking nut and go on the inside of here. And you're going to put it around the threading and kind of tighten it up with a screwdriver. All right, so I had to hop off camera and really struggle to get that 510 connection back in there. It is really tricky because this pin will start popping out of the Delrin piece and everything else. So it is tricky. So if you don't need to remove this, I would strongly suggest not removing this because it can be a real pain to get back in there. Let's grab the housing for the switch. Screw that in. All right, so we have the button housing and the 510 connection in place. So what we're gonna do is grab one of these little silver-plated screws. Then you wanna grab this silver-plated conductive plate and then pop the screw through one end. And then we're gonna screw one end into the 510 connection. Like I said, this is kind of tricky to get in there. All right, so as you can see, I have that screwed into place. You want to put the screw through that contact plate and then into the 510 connection. And then we're going to do the same thing over here for the button housing. So what you want to do is grab your button, put your spring in place, and then as you pop it through, you're going to see the threads for it. And then you want to line up this connection plate, conductive plate, as you can see like that. And then take the remaining silver-plated screw and screw that into place also. All right, so we should look something like that. All right, so grab your Delrin piece. And like I said, there's no wrong way to put this in. It only can go in one way. Slide that into place. Positive side up. Positive side up. And then what you want to do is you want to tighten these down. And don't crank on them. Because if you crank on them, you're going to start pushing in the positive part of your battery. So just tighten them down till they're nice and snug. All right, then just grab your lid, pop it in place, make sure everything's still seated correctly on top, screw on your atomizer of choice, and there you go. Test fire it. Perfect. All right, guys, so there you have it, up close and personal with the Dimitri mod by Infinite. Let's jump back up, let's vape on it, let's talk about it, all right? Here we go. All right, guys, there you have it, up close and personal with the Dimitri mod. That was a lot of work. I need to vape. Beautiful. This mod is gonna be, you know, for you people out there that like your box mods, for you guys out there that like to tinker around with your mods, this is a really fun mod to mod. If you like to mod your mods, this is a really cool mod to do it with because you can completely disassemble it. Then you have just a naked aluminum box. You could paint it up. You could do whatever you want to it. Put it all back together. It's really fun. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I think I might paint this thing and just disassemble it and paint it up, put it back together, and it'll look real cool. So there's a lot of fun options you have with this thing. Now, I don't really recommend it to, like I said, new vapors or people who are still learning, you know, Ohm's law and battery safety, because, as I said, there's no real safety features. Actually, there are no safety features on this thing. So if you build too low, you put the wrong batteries in, you do something wrong, there's nothing to protect you. Now, those little, like, contact plates, they are really thin. And I'm not 100% positive if those will snap if you run too low of an ohm build. Like, some mechanical mods, for instance, the Capsella, it has that real thin piece of copper, like, wiring. And if you build too low and you heat the mod up, that little copper strip will snap, and that's kind of like the safety feature. So I don't know if those will snap. I'm not guaranteed on that one. I'm not going to test it out. But I was running, I think the lowest I ran on here is like a 1.5, and it's perfect. So as long as you know your Ohm's law and your battery safety and the amp of your batteries, then you know how low you can build. I love the finish on this thing. Love the aluminum finish. It just feels so good in the hands. The switch on it, you know, it's a nice switch, but at times it could be a little, it could get a little wonky on you and get a little, like, you know, funky and kind of not fire, or to get kind of like sticky. And you gotta kind of adjust that silver screw on the inside to the correct position. If you adjust it correctly, you'll have no issues. When I first got it, I was having issues where it was like, you know, kind of pressing down, kind of not. It was being a real pain in the ass. But then when I took it apart, I adjusted those screws in there. I had no issues whatsoever. Gonna have another vape. And it performs really, really good. I don't know what the voltage drop is on here. I don't have a way to test it. But very little voltage drop. As long as you keep it clean and keep all those contacts correctly adjusted, this thing will perform awesomely. Few negatives I have about the box. This particular version, the Infinite version, has a fixed 510 pin, all right? So it's not floating. Some of your atomizers may not sit flush. For instance, I have the Mutation X on here. Let's see if you can see this. There's a hairline gap in there, but you can't even see it. If you use an atomizer with an adjustable 510 pin, you'll be in luck. Any other negatives I have with the box mod? I don't know. Not really. I'm not a huge fan of the gold plating. I don't like gold plating. It just looks tacky. Anything that has gold plating on it, I just don't like. So that's just going to be a matter of taste right there. Now, the price on this thing, you could pick one of these up over at Subsonic Vapes for 45 bucks. And the price range, you know, is around $40, $50, depending on where you go. And overall, I mean, I think for the construction on this thing, I think it's well worth $45, to be honest with you. Just because your options are endless. Like I said, you can mod this mod, and you can make it look completely awesome. If you didn't like the aluminum look to it, there's so many cool things you could do with this thing. And the fact that everything is removable, so if something happens over time, you could probably hunt down replacement parts for it. It's a really nice mechanical box mod. I really do like it. It is, like I said, big and hefty, but it's a workhorse. It feels good. It's one of those mods you just take out with you on the job when you're working, and you don't have to worry about it. If it drops, it drops. No big deal. Nothing's going to happen to it. So overall, I do give this one a thumbs up. It is a very, very impressive mod for the price. If you're in the market for a completely mechanical box mod. If you're more into something that has safety features, it's probably not going to be for you. So like I said, experienced vapors only on this one, guys, all right? So that's it. That's pretty much all I got for you today, and that's all I got for you on the Dimitri mod by Infinite. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. Feel free to hit that subscribe button. I'll talk to everyone very, very soon, and vape on. you.